vast majority of the time I'm shooting up physically very close. So let's just talk about that for just a second. This is again shot, and this is raw video right out of the D4. Again from last week down at Fort DeSoto. I got a willet that's here in its spring plumage, and it's got to keep in mind it's migrating north. So we usually don't get to see them in that beautiful kind of streaked plumage. Usually just kind of a dull gray. And this is typically how now I'm using another piece of equipment I don't have with me, and it's called a panning plate. So I'm down low physically. So the actual area of depth of field is much shallower because I've gone from this position down to this position with the bird. Okay. So a panning plate is another specialized piece of material or equipment I didn't bring with me, but it all has to do with this lens selection thing. Okay, lens selection is so important in the photographic process, and that's really what I want to facing. I guess you could say it. If I open up the camera and I see any kind of dust on there, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it with a blower brush, or a blower bulb. If that takes care of it, I'm good to go. If that doesn't remove it, then I'm going to use a brush. If that doesn't remove it, the last thing I'll do is a swab. And about those sensors or those videos are on my website. There's 4 different videos of how I clean the gear, take care of it. I'm about to update it because the system is kind of changed. This is the VR2. The VR2, better than the VR1, a tad. Okay, and you'll find that a tad is my favorite increment of measurement because it's very specific yet totally generic. Okay, this lens here, the biggest thing and reason why I like it the most is the VR2. When I'm shooting aircraft that I am physically not somewhere stable like I am right now, I mean something that's moving, a boat, a plane, the active mode in the VR2 I find does a little bit better job. That's the only reason. Is it worth the extra in price? Probably not unless you're going to be flying in helicopters or aircraft. All right? Now, the shade that comes with it from Nikon, I have one issue with it. If I take this lens, the lens shade, to go like this, the shade's not squared off, so the lens falls over. It seems trivial that has the Arca Swiss groove to it. I use that system because it's very quick. You'll notice that I've replaced the foot on the 200-400 the same way from Really Right Stuff. And quite often, I take it off. Okay, so today when we flew in the helicopter, this was left in the camera bag. There was no reason to take it with me. It just gets in the way. It's extra bulk, and then when you're working with like an aircraft, when you have safety belts and all those other things, that's just a big hook to get caught on those things. So I take them off. All right, so the stills, okay, are all backed up here. The video's backed up here, and I have the originals in the briefcase where the notebooks are. So I always put them in the USB and you back them up, and I have written an actual batch. Anybody remember batch codes from MS-DOS? I have a 4-70 2.8 AFS lens. Now, it's a zoom, so it goes from 24 to 70 millimeter. Everybody understand that basic concept? All right. The way I use a zoom lens, though, let's say I'm going to photograph this gentleman here. Okay, I'm not going to zoom to compose. Okay, like I've written many times, I'm going to zoom with my feet. So nothing personal, but he's got a little bit of gray matter showing up in the top there, right? So I'm going to sit there, I'm going to get a little bit tighter, okay, and shoot at 70 millimeter rather than shooting with 24. I'm going to get in closer physically and shoot at 70, not zoom in and then make the lens do the composition for me. There's something that's been said for a long time, especially when you're like looking at somebody's photographs and you're trying to give them ideas how they can improve, and it's literally just take one step closer. That makes a huge difference in the dance of eliminating certain elements while including others. So even though I have a zoom lens, 7200, 24 to 70, I'm going to shoot a specific focal length, and then I'm going to get closer physically and use that focal length I want to include or exclude elements. Does that make sense? Okay. So then, an oldie, but I still absolutely love it, is the Nikon 18AF. It's a rectilinear lens, which means lines stay straight. It has a big, wide-angle view. The other thing is, see how small it is? It's really compact, and I love that. And you might notice 77 filter, so I can put a polarizer on it. I can put a split grad. A lot of things can go on this wide angle that you can't put, for example, on the Nikon 14 to 24. Another really gorgeous lens. I have it. I don't use it much anymore, but I can't put filters on it. And if you've ever seen it, it's twice the size. Okay, and it's a big front element. It's just small and compact. If you look at it, all my lenses right here are all what size? They're all 77. Okay, that standardization makes it easier for me not to screw up, and that's important. Okay.